Nomadics are a unique synthesis of athletic and dance training exercises, physical therapy techniques, and meditation practices that I have studied around the world. The exercises are done without the use of weights, machines, or gadgets of any kind. All that is needed is your own body. The exercises are called nomadics because they are ideal for nomads, travelers, or anyone who is either unwilling or unable to visit gyms and sport clubs. The nomadics exercise system consists of 3 different movement forms. If these forms are consistently practiced 3 or more times per week, they will functionally develop all 5 fundamental movement dynamics, as well as promote an increased sense of personal energy and well-being. The first nomadics form is the morning movements form. This form consists of a series of 60 discrete exercises performed in a fluid, interconnected sequence. The various exercises are designed to wake up and warm up the body's major and minor muscle groups, while simultaneously articulating each of the joint structures through their full range of motion. The morning movements form takes approximately 20 minutes to complete. It is an excellent way to start each day and also a superb warm-up for any athletic, dance, or physical activity. The second nomadics form is the flexibility form. This form blends 40 classical yoga postures and contemporary stretching techniques with Tai Chi style movements. This form increases the limberness, suppleness, and agility of the body while simultaneously drawing attention to mental and emotional blocks. Practice of this form also gives the benefits of an internal organ massage, the stimulation of acupuncture points throughout the body, the chiropractic adjustment and decompression of joint structures, and a deeply relaxing myofascial release. The flexibility form takes 20 minutes to complete and should ideally be practiced 2 to 3 times each week. The third nomadics form is the strength endurance form. This form blends kinetic isometric exercises with aerobic and anaerobic conditioning to develop the power and endurance of all the body's major muscle groups. The 30 discrete exercises of this form duplicate classical weightlifting movements without the use of weights, with a greater range of motion and with no chance of strain or injury. While rapidly building physical strength, practice of this form also increases self-confidence and personal discipline. The strength endurance form takes approximately 20 minutes to complete and should ideally be practiced twice a week. There is one instructional video for each of the 3 nomadics forms. In the first part of each video, I will demonstrate the form at the pace or speed which is most appropriate for that form. During this demonstration, I will share ideas and insights I have developed from many years of practicing and studying movement. In the second part of each video, I will repeat the same form, but at a slower than regular pace. During the second demonstration of the form, I will give detailed instructions regarding the individual postures and movements that comprise the form. I suggest that you watch these videos 50 or more times in order to understand the essence of what I am teaching with the nomadics exercises. As you become increasingly familiar with the physical movements and postures of each form, you will gain a deeper intellectual and spiritual appreciation of the nomadics process and philosophy. Welcome to the Nomadics Strength and Endurance video. This video combines isometric exercises with movement. How did I develop this? When I was younger, I spent many years in weightlifting gyms doing weightlifting movements in a classically perfect way. And the way that weightlifting movements are designed, whether you're using free weights or a variety of machines, is they put your body in certain positions so that you create resistance on a certain muscle group as it's taken through a range of motion, and it thereby builds strength. And so I spent a lot of time in weightlifting gyms developing strength in all of these different muscle groups, primarily for the athletic activities that I was interested in, which were running, rock climbing, swimming, things like that, bicycle racing. And then I remember one time I went off to Japan and I was going to start riding a bicycle around the world, and I wasn't able to go to athletic gyms anymore, and I noticed that my muscle mass was starting to decrease. So one time on top of a mountain in Japan, partially because I was very cold and I wanted to stay warm, but I thought, is there a way using isometric movements to duplicate all of the classical weightlifting exercises? And that afternoon I figured them all out. And so what it is if you get a weight and you have a dumbbell in your hand and you're doing a dumbbell curl, the weight is providing the resistance, and so the muscle is building up strength. But it doesn't matter if it's a dumbbell or it's another object creating the resistance. So rather than having a dumbbell in my arm, I can put my left hand on top of my right, so as my right pulls up, it's my right bicep pulling up while my left tricep is creating the resistance. So this is the whole theory behind the Nomadics exercises, is that they're fluid isometric exercises. Isometric exercises is where one part of the body is pressing on another, creating the resistance wherein the strength is built. But the problem with isometric exercises is they're static. They're held in one place. So you only build the strength right there. So my innovation was to hold this resistance and then do a range of motion while there was the resistance. For example, right now I'm squeezing my hands together, which are working my inner pectoral muscles. And so I could squeeze it here and build up my pectoral muscles. But I could also be doing it here, or here, or here. So my innovation was to hold the resistance, and in keeping the resistance, move through a full range of motion. Now, we have upper and lower body. We have front and back. We have our arms and our legs. And if you go into a weightlifting gym, there's many, many, many different types of machines and weights that you can use. And so the Nomadics exercises are designed in such a way that you go from movement to movement to movement, and you keep going, you keep the movements going, so it's a cardiorespiratory or an aerobic workout. The lungs and the hearts are continuously working, but you exhaust muscle to muscle to muscle. So what we'll do is we'll go into a posture, and we'll do 10 to 15 to 20 repetitions of the movement, and then we'll go immediately to another one and do 10 to 20, 15 repetitions of that. And by the end of the workout, you'll get a very good aerobic workout, and you will have brought attention to every single one of the muscles. The fantastic thing about this exercise system is you don't have to have any machines or gadgets. You don't have to have a health club. You can do this anywhere you are around the world. You can do it in a very small hotel room. I've traveled a lot around the world and I didn't have access to gyms. And anything you can do in the most well-equipped gym in the world, I can do standing here just with my body if you learn how to use your body. And the neat thing also about this is the meditational quality of this. As you're doing these strength training exercises, you can sort of put them on automatic and begin to notice your interior sensation while this resistance is happening. And you can refine and refine and refine your concentration so that you're more and more present while you're doing the exercises. So you'll be doing two things. You'll be building physical strength, and you'll also be building this meditative capacity, this ability to focus your attention at distinct regions in your body. So now we'll begin the exercises. There are 5 fundamental movement dynamics, these being flexibility, strength, coordination, balance, and endurance. This video is primarily concerned with the development of strength and endurance, although coordination and balance will also be used during the strength form. In the first part of this video, a general explanation will be given regarding the resistance technique of the Nomadics method. In the second part of the video, each of the different exercises of the strength form will be demonstrated while precise instructions are given. The strength form consists of a series of distinct movements that duplicate classical weightlifting exercises and develop strength in each of the major muscle groups of the body. Each of the exercises in the strength form may be understood as an isometric exercise whereby muscular strength is developed by using the resistance of opposing muscles rather than by using weights or mechanical devices. The innovation of the Nomadics method is to increase the effectiveness of isometric resistance training by adding the component of movement. Each of the Nomadic strength exercises begins with an isometric resistance technique between two opposing muscle groups. Then, maintaining that resistance, movement is added so that the muscles are strengthened through their complete range of movement and not only in the static position used in conventional isometric techniques. The technique of muscular resistance maintained through fluid movement is essential to learn to correctly perform the Nomadic strength training exercises. In each of the different exercises, two body parts and the muscle groups that power them will be placed in opposition to one another. At the beginning of each exercise, the two opposing muscular forces will be in perfect balance and there will be no movement of body parts. Then, in order to begin movement, the muscular opposition must be taken out of balance so that one body part or muscle begins to exert slightly more pressure than the body part or muscle opposing it. This will result, for example, in the right arm slowly pushing the left arm to the side of the body, while the left arm resists that movement with slightly less force than the right arm. Once the arms have extended to the left side of the body, the resistance between the two arms then changes so that the left arm now exerts slightly more force and is able to push the right arm back towards the right side of the body while the right arm resists with slightly less force. This is the key to the Nomadic strength training method. Resistance is always maintained between two opposing muscle groups, but the degree or amount of force in each of the opposing muscles is always slightly unbalanced so that one body part is dominant and thereby moves the other body part. In order to develop greater strength in a particular muscle, there must be force placed in resistance to the movement of that muscle, and the muscle must be then taken through its full range of movement. In the conventional weightlifting method, this is accomplished by lifting heavy metal weights. In the Nomadics method, rather than using heavy objects, we simply use different parts of the body to resist the movement of different muscles. The innovation of the Nomadics method is that the amount of resistance may be regulated while the movement is in process. Whereas with conventional weightlifting, the only way to change the weight is to stop the exercise and switch to either a lighter or heavier weight. The Nomadics' ability to regulate resistance during an exercise is essential, since the muscles used in each exercise will not be uniformly strong through the complete range of motion of the exercise. In conventional weightlifting exercises, the athlete will either use a weight that is too heavy for a weaker part of the muscle being exercised, or a weight that is not heavy enough for a stronger part of the muscle. There is simply no way around this deficiency of mechanical weightlifting, even with the sophisticated machines found in gyms and health clubs. With the Nomadics exercises, because you are functioning as both the lifter of the weight and also as the weight being lifted, it is easy to regulate the force of the weight during the exercise. The amount of force and the number of repetitions used in each of the exercises is a matter of personal choice. Studies have shown that the most effective way of rapidly increasing strength in a muscle is to place enough resistance on the movement of the muscle so that the exercise can only be performed 10 to 15 times before the muscle is temporarily exhausted. If your intention is simply to tone the various muscles of the body, practice 1 or 2 cycles of the Nomadics strength form once or twice a week and perform each of the different exercises for 15 to 20 repetitions. If your intention, however, is to develop greater strength, practice 3 or 4 cycles of the strength form twice a week with 10 to 15 repetitions performed at a higher intensity of resistance. Performing 3 to 4 cycles of the complete series of exercises at high intensity will take approximately 45 minutes. It will also give you an extremely good aerobic workout and thereby increase your endurance. If this method of training is your choice, it is vitally important that you do not take any rest between the individual exercises, but that you go from exercise to exercise without pause, always keeping the heart rate high and the breathing energetic. While performing the strength training exercises, it is vitally important that you maintain continuous resistance through the entire range of motion of each exercise. This means that there is always resistance between opposing muscle groups even when the arms or legs are at one end of their range of motion in an exercise. It is also important that you perform the exercises with the same fluidity that you would use if there were no resistance. There should be no erratic, jerking, or violent motions during any of the strength exercises. Once you become familiar with each exercise and begin to increase your strength, it will be possible to perform the exercises with significant resistance and yet still be smooth and graceful in the movement. In order to use the strength training form simultaneously as an aerobic or endurance training exercise, it is necessary to not take any rest periods between the different exercises. Simply go from one exercise to the next by rapidly shifting the hand positions used to maintain the point of resistance. It is also important to not impose any control on your breathing, but to simply let the breathing follow the intensity of the level of exercise that you are consciously choosing. Rhomboids. This exercise strengthens the rhomboid and trapezius muscles on either side of the spine in the back. The rhomboid muscles are used in activities such as the backhand of the tennis stroke where the arm is pulling backwards. The position of the hands in this exercise are extremely important. Notice that the back of the hands are in contact. This is the point of resistance. Place the left hand on top of the right. Maintaining resistance between the back of the hands, the right hand will first pull the left hand over to the right side of the body, and then the left hand will pull the right hand back to the left side of the body. Notice also that the elbows are below the level of the hands. When doing this exercise, make sure that the hands are pulling against one another and thereby moving side to side in front of the chest, and not that the hands stay static in front of the chest while the torso turns side to side. Also keep the chest lifted upwards and the shoulders dropped while doing the exercise. Maintaining resistance through the full range of the exercise, the arms travel from side to side between 15 and 20 times, increasing the resistance as the exercise continues. Pectoral muscles. This exercise strengthens the pectoral muscles on the front of the chest. Begin by placing the hands together with the base of the palms as the point of resistance rather than the fingers. As you perform the exercise, have the hands pushing one another across the front of the body rather than holding the hands in front of the body and simply turning the torso. Throughout the exercise, make sure that the elbows are held lower than the hands, and most important, that the elbows are only 6 to 8 inches apart. Maintaining resistance through the full range of the exercise, the arms travel from side to side between 15 and 20 times, increasing the resistance as the exercise continues. As the arms move from side to side, raise and lower them, thereby increasing the range of pectoral development. Latissimus dorsi in deltoids. This exercise strengthens two different muscle groups at the same time. The latissimus dorsi or lats on the sides and back of the back, and the deltoids on the shoulders. Begin by placing the hands in front of the body with the left hand on top of the right. As the exercise is performed, there will be two focuses of moving attention. One is that the deltoids of the right arm will begin to lift the left arm straight up in front as the lats of the left arm resist this upward movement by pressing down. The second movement will be, while the right arm is slowly going up and down, it will also increasingly bend at the elbow so that the whole right arm travels towards the right side until the elbow is at a 90-degree angle. Have the arms go up and down 10 times on the way over to the right side, and then slowly return both arms to the center, again going up and down approximately 10 times. The lat is a much stronger muscle than the deltoids, and therefore it will not be necessary to use a lot of resistance to push down on the deltoid muscle. As the exercise is performed and the right arm slowly moves over to the right, the three parts of the deltoid will be exercised and strengthened. Regarding the up and down motion of the arms, it is important to allow the hands to come all the way down, but when they are raised, they only need to be parallel with the ground. Lat deltoid. Once the exercise is completed with the arms traveling toward the right side and returning to center, place the right hand upon the left hand and repeat the exercise with the arms traveling to the left. This time the left deltoids will be resisted by the right lats. It is important to constantly maintain focus on the proper form of the exercise so that the designated muscles are in resistance against one another. Remember, as the arms come upward, they do not lift above parallel with the floor, and as the arms drop downward, they almost touch the body. Additionally, as the exercise is performed toward the left side of the body, the left elbow will slowly begin to bend as the arms are going up and down. As on the right side, the exercise on the left will be performed 20 times up and down as the arms travel to the left and then back to the center. Throughout the exercise, on both sides, the chest is held high, the shoulders are low, the face is soft, and the breathing follows the degree of exertion of the exercise. Triceps deltoids. This exercise strengthens the triceps muscles on the back of the arms and the deltoids on the shoulders. Begin by straightening the right arm and placing the right hand generally in front of the left hip. Point the three main fingers of the right hand towards the ground and then tightly hold them with the left hand. This is the point of resistance. Begin to pull the right hand diagonally up and across the front of the chest so the right wrist comes up near the right ear, with the right elbow pointing directly to the right. This pulling action is performed by the deltoid muscles of the right arm and is resisted by the triceps muscles of the left arm. Continuing the movement, the left hand now begins to slowly pull the right hand back down to its starting position in front of the left hip. This up and down movement continues for 15 to 20 repetitions, all the while maintaining resistance through the full range of motion. While doing the exercise, keep the chest lifted, the shoulders dropped, the face relaxed, and the breathing easy. Triceps deltoids. As with all of the exercises in the strength training form, this exercise will be done on both sides of the body. Once the deltoid tricep exercise on the right side has been done 15 to 20 times, reverse the position of the hands so that the left hand is now in front of the right hip and the right hand tightly holds the 3 fingers of the left hand. Pull the left hand diagonally up and across the front of the chest so that the left wrist comes up near the left ear, with the left elbow pointing directly to the left. This position will exercise the left deltoid muscles in the right triceps. Again, perform the exercise up and down 15 to 20 times and maintain the resistance through the full range of motion. Biceps triceps. This exercise strengthens the biceps muscles on the front of the upper arms and the triceps muscles on the back of the upper arms. With the arms in front of the body, place the palm of the right hand on top of the left hand. This is the point of resistance. Use the left biceps to lift the left hand while the right triceps resists the upward movement. As soon as the hands rise to the chest, push more strongly with the right hand and triceps so the left hand is pushed back down. Repeat this up and down movement 15 to 20 times, maintaining resistance through the full range of motion. While doing this movement, do not move the upper arms forward and backward. The only movement is in the lower arms with the elbow joint as the point of pivot. As the arms move up and down, keep the hands directly in front of the chest. Repeat this exercise with the position of the hands switched. Place the palm of the left hand on top of the right hand and use the right biceps to lift the right hand while the left triceps resists this upward movement. As soon as the hands rise to the chest, push more strongly with the left hand and triceps so the right hand is again pushed back down. Continue this up and down movement 15 to 20 times, maintaining resistance through the full range of motion. While doing this movement, do not move the upper arms forward and backward. The only movement is in the lower arms with the elbow joint as the point of pivot. As the arms move up and down, keep the elbows equidistant from the sides of the body. Lat deltoid. This exercise strengthens the lats and the deltoids in a different way than an earlier exercise. Extend both arms in front of the chest and place the right hand on top of the left hand. This is the point of resistance. The right hand and the lats are pressing downward, and the left hand and the left anterior deltoids are lifting up. Keep the resistance between the two arms balanced so that both arms remain lifted parallel to the ground. Holding this resistance, begin to slowly swing the arms first to the right side of the body and then to the left. While doing the slow side-to-side movement of the arms, keep both arms elongated along their length so that the shoulders are placed in traction throughout the movement. Perform the side-to-side movement 15 to 20 times, being conscious to maintain resistance through the full range of the movement. The side-to-side movement of the arms must come from the arms moving and not simply from the torso turning to the sides. The torso will actually remain mostly straight forward as the arms swing across the chest. Lat deltoid. Repeat this lat deltoid exercise with the position of the hands switched so that now you will have the left lat resisting the right deltoid. Extend both arms in front of the chest and place the left hand on top of the right hand. This is the point of resistance maintained through the entire exercise. The left hand and the lats are pressing downward, and the right hand and the right anterior deltoids are lifting up. Keep the resistance between the two arms balanced so that both arms remain lifted and parallel to the ground. Holding this resistance, begin to slowly swing the arms first to the right side of the body and then to the left. While doing the slow side-to-side movement of the arms, keep both arms elongated along their length so that the shoulders are placed in traction throughout the movement. Perform the side-to-side movement 15 to 20 times, being conscious to maintain resistance through the full range of movement. Latissimus dorsi muscles. This exercise strengthens both lat muscles at the same time, as well as numerous other muscles in the shoulders and upper back. Begin by placing the hands a few inches over the head and hold the fingers together so the hands can pull away from each other. This is the point of resistance maintained through the entire exercise. Next, begin to exert slightly more power in the right hand so that it pulls the left hand over the head towards the right shoulder as the left hand resists this movement. Then, change directions by exerting more power through the left hand so that it pulls the resisting right hand over the head towards the left shoulder. Continue this side-to-side movement, with first one hand pulling with 55% of the power, while the other resists with 45%, and then reversing the energy in both hands so the arms travel back to the other side. Perform the exercise 15 to 20 times and maintain the pulling resistance between the two hands through the full range of the exercise. Triceps biceps. This exercise strengthens the tricep and bicep muscle in a different way than an earlier exercise in the strength training series. This time both arms are held behind the back as the exercise is performed. Begin by dropping the left arm behind the back and using the fingers of the right hand to hold the back inside of the left hand. Then begin to use the right hand in biceps to pull the left hand up towards the right shoulder as the left hand in tricep resists this upward movement. Once the left hand has been pulled upwards, reverse the motion by exerting more pressure in the left hand in triceps so the right hand is pulled back down to the starting position by the left hip. Continue this upward and downward motion, maintaining resistance through the full range of motion while keeping the chest held high and the shoulders dropped. Perform the exercise 15 to 20 times. Triceps biceps. Repeat the behind-the-back triceps-biceps exercise by changing the position of the hands. Begin by dropping the right arm behind the back and using the fingers of the left hand to hold the back and side of the right hand. Then begin to use the left hand in biceps to pull the right hand up towards the left shoulder as the right hand in the triceps resists this upward movement. Once the right hand has been pulled upwards, reverse the motion by exerting more pressure in the right hand in triceps so that the left hand is pulled back down to the starting position by the right hip. Continue this upwards and downwards motion, maintaining resistance through the whole range of motion, while keeping the chest held high and the shoulders dropped low. Perform the exercise 15 to 20 times with graceful, smooth movement. Trapezius triceps. This exercise strengthens the trapezius and triceps muscles on both sides of the body. First, drop the left arm to the side, behind the hip, and tightly hold the left wrist with the right hand. Pull down on the left wrist with the right hand and begin to raise the left shoulder, moving it in a backward circle. This exercise uses the right triceps to resist the lifting of the left trapezius. Do the exercise by having the shoulder move through 10 to 15 circles with constant resistance. While doing the exercise, have the lifting of the left arm come from the left shoulder and not by bending the left elbow. Repeat this same exercise on the other side of the body by dropping the right hand to the side and behind the hip. Tightly hold the right wrist with the left hand, pull down, and begin to slowly raise and circle the right shoulder while pulling down with the left hand. This exercise uses the left tricep to resist the lifting of the right trapezius. Leg lifts. This exercise strengthens many different muscles in the upper leg and lower back. The exercise will be performed with 2 different circling directions for both legs. With each of these 4 circle directions, lift the knee as high as possible and make the circles with the knee large and truly circular. First, the right leg will be lifted and moved in large circles in an outward, clockwise direction. Second, the left leg will be lifted and moved in large circles in an outward, counterclockwise direction. Do not rush through the circles, but allow them to be slow, with control, and as large as you can make them. Third, the right leg will be lifted and moved in large circles in an inner counterclockwise direction. Keep the movement slow and graceful, and for each of the 4 different circle directions, perform 10 to 15 circles. Fourth, the left leg will be lifted and moved in large circles in an inner clockwise direction. While performing these circles, do not hold the breath and keep the hands and arms fluid and relaxed. Squats. This exercise strengthens numerous muscles in the upper legs and lower back. To begin the exercise, place the feet shoulder-width apart and generally pointing straight ahead. It is then helpful to extend the arms in front of the body for balance while the exercise is being performed. During the upward and downward movement of the exercise, keep the feet firmly on the floor, not lifting the heels, and maintain a smooth and continuous movement of the body. Begin to let the bottom sink downward without bending the torso forward until the bottom lowers all the way to the heels, with both feet staying firmly and fully on the ground. Slowly stand back up and then equally slowly allow the bottom to sink to the floor again. While performing this exercise, it is very important to not have a bouncing or snapping motion when the bottom is at its lowest point near the floor. The movement of lowering and raising the bottom is kept constant and gentle. Do not bend the torso forward, but simply let the bottom sink to the heels while the feet are kept flat upon the floor. Slowly repeat the exercise 10 to 15 times. Abdominals. This exercise strengthens the abdominal muscles of the torso as well as the hip flexors of the legs. The exercise should be done slowly, smoothly, and continuously with complete control and with no jerking motion. It is an extremely efficient exercise and only needs to be performed 10 to 15 times to tone and strengthen the muscles. Obliques. This exercise strengthens both the abdominal muscles and other muscles on the sides of the waist called the obliques. Perform the exercise 10 to 15 times with graceful control and smooth movement, and do not hold the breath while doing the exercise. Adductors. This exercise strengthens the adductor muscle group on the insides of the thighs. To begin the exercise, lay upon your back with your head and shoulders resting on the floor. Using the stomach muscles, lift the knees towards the chest and then place the palms of both hands on the insides of the legs against the knees. This is the point of resistance. Then begin to use the arms to slowly pull the knees further apart while the muscles on the insides of the thighs resist this outward pulling motion. Once the knees are pulled as comfortable, begin to use the inner thigh muscles to pull the knees back inward as the arms resist. Perform the exercise 15 to 20 times with slow, graceful movements. Abductors. This exercise strengthens the abductor muscles on the outsides of the thighs. To begin the exercise, keep the body in the same position as in the previous exercise, laying upon your back with head and shoulders resting upon the floor. Place the palms of both hands on the outsides of the legs, tightly holding the knees. This is the point of resistance for the exercise. Then begin to use the muscles on the outsides of the thigh to pull the knees apart while the hands on the knees resist this outward motion. Once the knees have pulled as far apart as comfortable, use the hands to pull the knees back inward to the center as the outsides of the thighs resist this inward movement. Perform the exercise 15 to 20 times with slow, graceful movements. Quadriceps hamstrings. This exercise strengthens muscles on the front and back of the legs known as the quadriceps and the hamstrings. To begin the exercise, keep the body in the same position as in the previous exercise, laying upon your back with head and shoulders resting upon the floor. Extend both legs towards the ceiling and place the right ankle on top of the left ankle. This is the point of resistance through the exercise. Slowly begin to use the right ankle and the right hamstring to pull the left ankle downward as the left quadriceps resists the downward motion. Once the ankles have come down to the bottom, begin to extend the legs upwards again, using the quadriceps of the left leg to lift the ankles as the hamstring of the right leg resists the slow upward movement. Next, perform the same exercise with the ankles in opposite positions. Place the left ankle on top of the right ankle and use the left ankle and the left hamstrings to pull the right ankle downward as the right quadriceps resists the downward motion. Once the ankles have come down to the bottom, begin to extend the legs upwards again, using the quadriceps of the right leg to lift the ankles as the hamstrings of the left leg resist the slow upward movement. Erector spinae muscles. This exercise strengthens numerous muscles of the lower and middle back. Begin the exercise by placing your body in the position shown. Then begin to simultaneously move both the upper and lower parts of your body by extending one leg backward and upward while the head and shoulders lift, followed by the reverse of this movement where the extended leg is now pulled downward towards the chest as the head is brought towards the knee. Perform 15 to 20 movements of this exercise using the right leg, and then switch sides in order to perform the same exercise with the left leg. While doing the exercise, attempt to lift the extended leg as high as possible, creating a long and beautiful arc of the body, but do this with a graceful and continuous motion. Push-ups. This exercise strengthens the pectoral muscles of the chest, the triceps muscles on the back of the arms, and the lower and middle back muscles. The push-ups may be performed with either the feet as the base or the knees as the base, depending upon your arm strength. As your muscle strength improves, it will become possible to perform the exercise using the feet as the base rather than the knees. The most important thing is to keep the back extremely straight while doing the push-ups and to keep the head held high. Perform 10 to 15 push-ups smoothly and slowly and let your strength build over months of practice. This concludes the Nomadics strength video. In closing, I would like to express deep gratitude to all the dance and movement teachers I have studied with, and equally important, appreciation to the many hundreds of students who have taken my own classes over the past 20 years. Studying and teaching movement has been an extraordinarily important part of my life. From this life of movement, I have been gifted with abundant health, a legendary vitality, and an ever-increasing awareness of the great spiritual beauty of human life. It is my hope that my movement teachings, through the Nomadics method, will touch many other people's lives in an equally beautiful way. Thank you and much peace to you.